We live in a world that is just buzzing with invisible connections. I mean, right now, the phone in your pocket, the satellites way up in orbit, they're all part of this silent, invisible web. So today, we're going to pull back that curtain. We're going to follow the incredible, wild journey of just one wireless signal, from the moment it's sent to the moment it's received.
Seriously, have you ever stopped to really think about that? You speak into this little device and just poof, your voice is somehow plucked out of thin air by another device, maybe thousands of miles away. How in the world does that happen? Well, that's the exact mystery we're going to solve.
And this whole invisible world, this infrastructure, it's not just for phone calls. It powers so much of our modern lives. It's kind of the silent hero that connects us, guides us, and keeps us entertained in ways we totally take for granted. It's just fundamental to how we live now.
I mean, just look around. It's absolutely everywhere. The GPS that helps you find that new coffee shop, that's wireless. The Wi-Fi that's probably streaming this to you right now, wireless. Your cell phone, obviously. Even those little RFID tags that let you zip through tolls on the highway or the satellite TV on your roof, it all relies on the exact same basic principles of shooting information through the air.
Okay, so let's start our signal story at the very beginning. Act 1. We have a message. Let's say it's the sound of your voice, and it needs to be packaged up and ready for a long journey. 'Cause here's the thing, it can't just go by itself. It needs a ride.
And that ride is called a carrier wave. Now here's why this is so critical. Your voice, as just a plain old sound wave, is pretty weak. If you tried to send it through the air, it would just fizzle out almost immediately. So to go any real distance, it has to hitch a ride. Kind of like a surfer catching a massive ocean wave to get to shore. It's riding on something much more powerful. So, this process of getting our information, our voice, onto that powerful carrier wave, it's called modulation. It's pretty straightforward, really. You take your original info, you combine it with that high-frequency carrier wave, and what you get is a brand new, modulated signal. This new signal has all the strength it needs to travel, but it's still got our original message tucked away safely inside. Okay, so our signal is all packaged up, it's ready to go. But now we gotta actually launch it into the world with enough power to make it. And this is where the transmitter comes into play.
So, if we pop the hood on a transmitter, the very first stop for our signal is the modulator. This is the actual piece of hardware that does what we just talked about. It physically combines our information with that high-frequency carrier wave.
All right, next up, our freshly modulated signal is sent to the power amplifier. See, even after modulation, the signal is still pretty weak, way too weak for a long-distance trip. The power amplifier is like a rocket booster, giving that signal a huge surge of energy so it can survive the tough journey ahead.
Now for the final piece of the launch sequence, the antenna. This thing's job is basically a kind of technological magic. It takes the electrical signal coming from the power amplifier and transforms it into an electromagnetic wave, the kind of wave that can actually fly out and travel through space.
And, not all antennas work the same way. You've got isotropic antennas, which are kind of like a bare light bulb. They just spray energy out equally in all directions. Kind of wasteful, right? That's why most systems use a directional antenna. This is much more like a laser pointer. It focuses all that precious energy into a tight, focused beam aimed right at the receiver. Way more efficient. So our signal is airborne. It's on its way. But its journey is absolutely filled with danger. It faces two huge enemies that are constantly trying to tear it down: distance and noise.
The number one enemy is distance, and its effect is, well, it's brutal. Physics tells us that a signal's strength doesn't just fade with distance, it absolutely plummets. Get this, if you double the distance from the transmitter, the signal you receive isn't half as strong. No, it's 4 times weaker. It's a tough world out there for a signal.
Engineers actually map all this out. They call it a link budget. Think of it like a balance sheet for the signal's survival. You start with a big plus from the transmitter's power. You add another boost from the antennas. But then you have to subtract this massive, massive loss from distance, and a constant nagging loss from all the cosmic and man-made noise. Yeah, our little signal takes a real beating on its way.
Which brings us to our final act. After traveling across the city, or maybe even across the solar system, our signal is now incredibly faint. It's just a tiny whisper in a roaring sea of noise. So the question is, how on earth can a receiver possibly find it, catch it, and figure out what it's saying?
Well, the whole process basically starts in reverse.
The first thing that happens is the receiving antenna captures those incredibly faint electromagnetic waves as they pass by and turns them back into a super weak electrical signal.
Okay, now that weak signal goes to maybe the most important part of the receiver, the low noise amplifier, or LNA. Its whole job is to take that tiny, weak signal and boost it. But, and this is the genius part, it has to do it without adding a bunch of its own noise. It's the real hero here, right? It has to amplify that whisper without also amplifying the background roar. In fact, it's the constant improvement in LNA tech that allows for things like deep space communication.
And finally, our newly amplified signal goes to the demodulator. This is it, the moment of truth. The demodulator's job is to strip away that high-frequency carrier wave, the ride our signal hitched at the beginning, and unpackage it to get back the original information, your voice, safe and sound. And just to give you an idea of how mind-blowing this whole process is, look at this number. This represents the power level a satellite receiver might be dealing with. We're talking about a signal that traveled over 37,000 kilometers. That is a fantastically, absurdly small amount of energy. It's a true testament to just how sensitive our modern receivers are. It's a miracle of engineering, really.
So, there you have it, the complete journey of a signal. It's packaged up, it's amplified, it's launched, then it's beaten down by distance and noise, and then it's caught, amplified again, and finally unpacked to deliver its message. It's the process that literally enables our connected world. But it also points to our biggest challenge yet.
Think about it. With billions and soon to be trillions of devices, phones, cars, smart toasters, you name it, all trying to scream their own messages into the air at the same time, how do we stop it from becoming just a chaotic, global traffic jam of signals? As we go forward, the real question is, how do we manage all that traffic and make sure every single message can still find its way through the noise?